There's going to be an ad that's going to play. It's going to be annoying. Don't play an ad. There's going to be an ad that's going to play. It's going to be annoying. No, that's fine. All right, sound check's good. We're going to let people gather for a second, hence the little graphic. Enjoy the little graphic thing. BRB. Oh, who the hell messaged me? What? What do you want? Okay. BRB. Hazel, what do you want? All right, I'm back. Beverage acquired. Are there any lore vids in the works? Not currently. Like, not this moment. I'm reading other books at the moment, but I do have some Warhammer books queued up in the list. I'm trying to get to those. But I took a little break. I took a little break from Warhammer Fantasy reading and read some non-fiction, which has been mixed at best. I chose some pretty not very good non-fiction. Okay. Hazel, any percent speed run? That's a 1% speed run. It's easy. What beverage? I got apple juice for free calories. We love free calories. All right, what desktop will this have you look at? Oh, you get to look at my streaming setup. That's exciting. So let's get started. If you didn't see the announcement on the Discord, it is not an accident. There haven't been that many daily videos recently because the World Cup streams are going to take the place of daily videos for the duration. Because if you weren't here for the first World Cup, the streams are pretty short because I do like to do just one matchup per stream, and that's only 5 games. They're all replays. They're already recorded. So honestly, it takes us about 45 minutes to a little under an hour to get each of these streams done. I have 17 teams, which means I have 16 streams to do over the next 3 or 4 weeks. So daily videos are just going to be World Cup streams for a little bit. They're meant to be, why I do that way and I don't do one long stream or whatever is because I like this to be short form and digestible for people that just want to pop in and watch a specific country versus a specific country, or it's their team and they just want to watch themselves play, things like that. So Yeah, we're just going to do these. I have one today, obviously. I was going to stream twice tomorrow was the plan because we're already done with week 1, which is like week 1/2, right? But this entire column is done and this column is done, so there's plenty of content to do. We just have to, you know, do it, which is what we're doing today. We're going to start with the group that started behind CB2 versus Visegrad. Now, you might notice some of these don't look like any country you've ever seen. Like, what is CB? Last year we had some people who wanted to play, but they had friends and they wanted to play with those friends, but those friends weren't geographically right next to them, or their country didn't have enough players. So this year we did throw in, or you can just be in your clan with your teams, whatever, it's fine. So this is clan CB, which is Eastern European clan charging Beastmen versus Visegrad, which isn't really a country, more of a region, but it is what it is. So the charging Beastmen, I just gave them their little flag, and then Visegrad is a collection of European countries. Let's go. On the left side, we have Drugash, Swordkeeper, Von Karstein, Akin, and Chain versus Kukinko, Segos, Ponti, Danicantrop, and Scarbrand. It is a mix of conquest, domination, and land battles, spanning all the different game modes to get as many people participating and playing with their friends as we can get. And each team has a global ban. Now, if you're not in the tournament scene and don't know what that is, a global ban means no one at any point in this series is going to play this faction, your team or otherwise. So we will not see Slaanesh or Norska between these two teams. Pretty simple. And we'll go top to bottom. Let's get Drugash versus Kukinko. Watch replay. There we go. No, we don't need the blocker anymore. Get out of here. Get out of here. Shoot. Looks like we're starting off with Dwarves. Dwarves and High Elves. What up, Scarbrand? Scarbrand, I know you casted stuff. You silly. So this is a conquest match. The Dwarves are going to push up very quickly to try and get to the point where they can then hold a defensive position and try and wait out the High Elves. For the Dwarves, we have a Rune Lord on foot, trying to keep him as cheap as possible with Rune of Wrath and Ruin and Slowness. We have 2 Slayer heroes. One is the Dragon Slayer. The other one is Gargrim Iron Fist. Quarrelers, Dwarf Warriors, Clores, and Dwarf Warriors. A couple Miners Blasted Charges, 2 Iron Drake Trollhammer Torpedoes, 1 Giant Slayer, regular Slayers, and a Goblin Hewer. So a relatively short-ranged build, just meant to blend as many things as possible. For the High Elves, we have 5 White Lions of Krace. Standard in this matchup, good armor-piercing, high stats. They're going to get mulched on the way in, but that's kind of the price you have to pay. Frostart Phoenix and Alariel Radiant in the Skies. Alariel with Tempest for Gyrocopters, and then Earthblood for everything else, and then 2 Lion Chariots of Krace for armor-piercing chariots, and 1 War Lion. Oh, more War Lions. 3 total. Didn't see them going around the sides. Rune of Slowness onto Alariel, and the Trollhammer is really actually doing good damage onto her. Dang, she's down to half HP. She's gonna need to back off and get some healing. It's a brutal start for the High Elves, but it always is gonna be against the Dwarves in this matchup. It's just really rough to get into range, but once they do, they could do pretty good. Goblin Hero is teeing off onto the Frostart Phoenix, which just barely got away from the Slayer core. And the White Lions of Krace are trying to get into melee combat. Blasting charges are stopping them here and there. And Dwarven Geometry is holding for now. Actually, the High Elves are in a pretty bad spot. Goblin Hewer is still messing up the Frostart Phoenix despite getting an Earthblood. And these Lion Chariots are getting a lot more bogged down than I think they wanted to be. So having troubles getting out of here. Really good start for the Dwarves and a bit of a disaster here for the High Elves. White Lions of Krace still doing good work on the front line. That's really the only thing going well for the High Elves right now, is just consistent frontline damage, I guess. As my cat is demanding scritches, making it very hard to move the camera at the same time as doing things. We see more Lion Chariots pulling back into Miners, getting good damage there. And the Dwarves still holding steady, but it's getting a little risky. We can see we have some Miners finally starting to break, War Lions running where they please, and Slayers struggling to answer the call of battle. Really having a tough time getting where they need to be as the High Elves keep just pulling away whenever the Slayers arrive, which is smart. You definitely don't want to just hang out in Slayers for no reason. Frontline officially penetrated, as it looks like the last Dwarf Warrior from the front is going to crumble, but I mean, have you just taken too much damage to even win at this point? You do still have to grind through Slayers in the late game, so if it's down to just some kitty cats and birds, that's not going to really go well. Still have 3 healthy White Lions of Krace, which are critical to kill the Slayers in the late game. Lost a Lion Chariot, other Lion Chariot. No, that's not the other Lion Chariot. Where's the other Lion Chariot? Is he getting a nice heal onto these War Lions and White Lions and whatnot? What's the second Chariot? Am I being stupid? There it is. Yeah, I'm being stupid. It's right in the middle of my face. The middle of my face, also known as my nose. 4 out of 4 models for these guys. Frostart Phoenix jumps in. The Frostart Phoenix does have a pretty brutal aura. -8 melee attack, -12% weapon strength across the board. But the Slayer heroes are just well equipped to fight the Frostart Phoenix, even with that debuff. They just have insanely high melee stats and good bonus versus large. Gargrim might have bonus versus infantry. Then he also just has probably higher stats. Yeah, bonus versus infantry, but still a natural 45 melee attack, even with Frostart Phoenix debuffs. High Elves starting to feel pretty good, though, because they've collapsed in fully. We can see it's just a mess of infantry, but since your White Lines of Grace actually have a good amount of HP left, they can deal with the Slayers effectively, and they're still just going to get healed the whole time, Earthbloods and whatnot. And the Dwarven range units are all useless now. The battle's just too chaotic and too folded on itself for them to really do much. We can see War Lions in the background chasing off one of the Trollhammer torpedoes. Another Trollhammer torpedo is trying to get away and set up, but the bounce power is coming back towards the middle. Frostart Phoenix is still healthy. We saw it took a lot of damage earlier, so I bet its healing cap is right around the corner, but still, it's healed up. It's fine for now. Larry is very damaged, but as long as she stays alive and can still offer healing in the late game, she'll be just fine. And yeah, these White Lions are really the winners of this matchup here. Doing a lot of great work. Without them, this would be doomed. Like if you had Ship's Company or something left in the late game, it's just not as good. It's White Lions chopping through all the infantry. And they'll get slow damage onto the Hero Hammer. I don't know if they'll like actually kill them, but Dwarven capture weight's pretty bad with just 3 heroes. I mean, you could put 2 White Lions on the point and take it. Neither side taking the point could be a problem for the High Elves in the later part, though, because taking out those 3 single entities is going to be a little rough for the build they brought. Ooh, Frostart Phoenix, Master Rune of Slowness in the middle of these Slayers. Slayers get good chopping done before Lion Chariots just plow through them. Still 4 out of 4 models on those guys. They get a lot of healing left. Slayers and Giant Slayers taking a lot of damage. Goblin Hero Crew is just more Slayers, taking a lot of damage as well. So really, the last hope of the Dwarves is their Hero Hammer. And if the High Elves haven't taken the point, which they haven't, that could get problematic. Rune of Wrath and Ruin is my favorite Dwarven rune. I think it's critical to bring it for situations like this. If you get to a late game, just Hero Hammer grind, none of the Dwarven heroes are amazing at clearing out chaff infantry, so having that Rune of Wrath and Ruin for just slow, consistent damage on the infantry and forcing the Chariots or the Eagles to come fight you is going to be pretty brutal. Taking a look around, I'm actually pretty concerned for the High Elves. The bounce power is now in the High Elves' favor. I would, if I got to say the bounce power at this moment, I'd say like 60-40 Dwarves. Just because I really am concerned the High Elves don't have anything left to kill the Hero Hammer, really. Lion Chariots charge in, but if the Slayer heroes can get 1 or 2 hits off real quick on their way out, they can knock out entire Chariot models, and that'll reduce their healing potential. It's not to be. So Slayers just get knocked around. Trollhammer's firing at Alariel. Probably want to fire at something where you can take out the models. Looks like they're going to get a last couple shots on these War Lions. Let's see if any of them die. 19 models. Take grenades to the face like a boss. Yeah, they're not dead. They're fine. Is Blackhorn's Ravagers good to take before marked core units? I mean, Blackhorn's Ravagers is just good to take in general. There's that Rune of Wrath and Ruin, killing a ton of White Lions. Yeah, Blackhorn's Ravagers are one of the better Beastmen infantry for sure. Very cost effective, which is not something a lot of Beastmen infantry are, honestly. Hey, Dreaded Zorin. Alariel throwing a crap ton of healing at these various lion type units. That's got to be her last star. Yeah, it's her last star of Avalorn. She probably has a ton of Earthbloods left. See how that much that matters. Frostart Phoenix is in. Once again, I've noted his healing is probably right around the corner. If he takes 1 shot from these Slayers, we're probably going to see his heal cap appear, but effective cycle charging, they're getting away, and that's why the Dwarves probably really wanted to take the point in the early game, because then the cycle charging has less time to do so as you're just ticking up on points. But now the High Elves have the point. It's taken super late in the game, so I don't really think there's a world in which this ends on capture points from here. Someone has to die. Dragon Slayer's taking a lot of hits. in a row from the Frostheart Phoenix. Pretty tough, but there's its healing count that we mentioned before. This is the only Phoenix without a rebirth. It has a L'Oreal. It should be safe and sound to just keep cycle charging and getting Earth-blooded, but just in case, if it does fall low on HP, there's no hoping for a rebirth. Bounce Power is getting really bad. Dragon Slayer took a lot of damage from Frostheart Phoenix. Rune Lord's getting super low on HP and leadership. And without him, you're not going to be able to clear out the last of the White Lions very effectively. And since dwarves are dwarves and they don't really have much mass, even just a battered remnant of a White Lion of Christ is really annoying for them because they just can't push through the targets they actually want to get onto. Looks like Army Loss is going to hit. Rune Lord's gone. Everybody's gone. So it's down to just the Slayers. It is a replay, so I can hit this fancy little button. All right, he's just going to FF. Hey, human boy, word on the street is you smell. Word on the street is good. I do smell. I am a stinky, poo-poo, dumb face butthead. Drugash, Runesmith did fine. The Hero Hammer overall didn't get that much value. They didn't do terribly, but they didn't do great. Dwarf Warriors did well. Miners Bison Charges struggled. Both Slayers did pretty well. Quarrelers did okay. Troll Hammer Torpedoes did well overall. And the Goblin Hero did well overall. But you do have to think that the High Elves, with their abundance of healing, you're going to have to get a lot more than paying for yourself to win that one. Alarielle, 78 value. She sucks. She is trash garbage, and context is dead, so she's bad. Now, clearly she did great. Healing the High Elves through the late game was crucial, and she did her job without dying. White Lions of Christ did very, very well. Lion Chariots, more mixed. I wasn't that impressed with them. I do think Chariots are good versus Dwarves, and you do need them, but one of them just got caught and instantly died. The other one got its job done, though. War Lions did a little better, and the Frostheart Phoenix was, I guess, a good debuff monster, but you can see it really struggled to get its value back, and even though it got all that healing, it just didn't have a good time, so yeah, GG. GG. Take you back over to the Photoshop, and to keep track of score, we use the very scientific method of big old X's. Dead. Good job, Kukinko. Also, I don't want that to be gray. I wanted it to be red, so we're gonna do it again. What the? I told you to be red. There we go. All right. Now we're gonna fix that, and this time you're gonna be red. Perfect. And then we'll get a little green check mark for our buddy Kukinko. Actually, this is way too big. Let's just shrink it down a little bit. Oh, that's fancy. That's a good check mark right there. Oh, look at how beautiful that check mark is. Whoa. Let's smooth it out a little bit. Yeah. That's a nice check mark. Score 1 to Visegrad. It will be the last point they score. Hui, hui, hui. All right, who is that? I need to delete that replay from my billions of replays so I don't keep coming across it. Next, I need Swordkeeper versus Segos. I don't recognize Swordkeeper's name, so I'm inclined to vote against him versus Segos, because Segos is like one of the best players that's ever existed in my entire life, and he's so handsome. But you never know. Just because I haven't seen somebody doesn't mean they're not friggin' amazing. I haven't watched any of his replays, by the way. I do technically know what team wins because they're currently fighting my team. So yeah, I know who wins, but I don't actually know what the end score was, and I don't know what the replays look like. So here we are.
It will be done.
All right. In we are. Segos on the Beastmen versus Swordkeeper's Empire. We have Outriders with their handguns, Outriders with grenade launchers. So 1 grenade launcher for regulars. Then Empire Knights and Reichsguard and Amber Wizard on a Griffin with Flock of Doom. Also Boris Todbringer on a Griffin with his various leadership debuffs. And then Spearman of Shields. Very simple, effective build here from the Empire. For Segos' Beastmen, we have a couple Centaurs with throwing axes, including the Groghoofs of Wolf's Run. We have 1 Ungor Raider that was deployed in the Vanguard and seems like it's going to die very soon. There it goes to a grenade volley. We have a Gorgon, Slongors, a bunch of Razorgore herds, and Malagor Dark Omen with just Flock of Doom. But I actually think the Empire have a pretty good build versus what the Beastmen ended up bringing. The Empire infantry are wildly outclassed by the Slongors, but that's not really the point, is it? You have 5 skirmish cavalry that, no, don't let them get caught. No, you need to run away. Okay, my point is getting destroyed before our eyes, but they have skirmish cavalry, especially the grenade launchers can clear infinite Slongors in the late game. The Outriders can shoot the Gorgon from afar and deal with the skirmish cav, and you do have Reiksguard and Empire Knights to peel for them. So far, the battle plan is going pretty well for the Empire. Pretty well. A couple whoopsies. Outrider getting caught there in terror routing, Outrider grenade launcher getting caught earlier and running. But if you actually look at the damage, they haven't taken that much damage, so they can rally and be fine. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Empire did effectively catch out one Centaur with Boris, push it away, and now Outriders are chasing down those throwing axes. But with such a mobile game plan from the Empire, a lot of their damage is in their skirmish cav, and a lot of their protectors are also highly mobile. It does take a lot of micro, and mistakes get punished more heavily than like usual infantry heavy builds. You can throw infantry at something and they're so slow moving, there's usually time to make decisions and alterations. Things like this, like you can see the Outriders get caught for even just a second and they're just getting shredded. Nice countercharge here from the Empire Knights, but it's not going to be worth it. Overall, that will be a win for the Beastmen. Over here, Outriders and the grenade launchers are trying to kite out the Gorgon, getting decent damage down here and there. Toddbringer's wondering where he should go. He does not want to duel with the Gorgon for too long, but it could be worth it to dive on it for a second while the Outriders shoot it in the back. Or is it more worth his time to be cycle charging the front line and applying his leadership debuffs? These are pretty tough decisions that there isn't really a wrong answer, but you do need to just make a decision and stick with it. It looks like he's going to go and try and peel the Gorgon with his time. Meanwhile, state troops are getting massacred by Slongors. One Spearman is holding, but that's because it did get significant support from the grenade launchers, which are currently teeing off on another Slongor. And here we go. This is exactly what the Empire wanted when they put Boris back here. Boris is going to lose to the Gorgon very, very badly, but he wants it to sit still in front of 2 Outriders, and that's what he's doing. The Outriders are going to get a lot of damage, chase the Gorgon off, and it should be fine. But where Boris isn't, things are going to go a little rougher. We are losing more frontline troops the longer this goes on, and Centaurs are starting to chase around these Reiksguard and Empire Knights, including 3 throwing axe variants that will do a lot of damage to them despite their shields. Gorgon is dead. Boris lives, and he will slowly regenerate himself back up. Bounce power is in the favor of the Empire, and I would tend to agree that, again, playing perfectly, I think their build is very well suited to fight these Beastmen, and I think they're currently in a really good position, all things equal. Overcast hurts the Amber Wizard a little bit. Not a huge deal, but unfortunate. And Outriders grenade launchers cutting away from the Slongors. Again, they're very important. If you get down to a late game with just regular Outriders versus Slongors, that'll be a nuisance. You'll have to waste a lot of ammo to take them out. You can do it, it's just a lot of ammo you don't want to be spending on that type of thing. Malagor and the Razorgors are all trying to catch these Outriders, which are just trying to peel away. We do have the Amber Wizard jump in with his Griffin. He does also have Blood Roar, which is why he brought him on that mount, so he can easily rout off the Razorgor herds. But full health Slongors here. They are Slanesh units. They are immune to psychology naturally. They're going to be a lot harder for Boris and the boys to peel. Really good collapse in here from Segos. Nice Flock of Doom from Malagor down on multiple skirmish cav units, but the Groghooves of Wolfsaron also just rolling up in the backfield and harassing these guys has been pretty good. The ones that don't regenerate, the 2 regular Centaurs, are feeling the attrition. The Groghooves have been mostly doing okay, getting charged by heavy cav and getting skirmished on, but Malagor ends up overextending a little bit. He is a teeny tiny little guy, which usually makes him tanky, but it also makes him low on mass, and landing in front of Boris and the other Griffin proves to be his doom as he gets trapped in Empire Knights. And even routing, like when the AI takes over the micro, he's still stuck in there. Damn. And if they lose Malagor, I mean, this game's going to get very hard very quickly. We see a lot of stuff that's primed to rout. Centaurs are throwing axes, trying to get in here and get some damage done. Razorgor Herde's going to peel, but as soon as they hop in, they get jumped by the Amber Wizard and Boris, get up into the sky, and then pin Malagor in place while in the sky. That's fucked up. You can't just do that to somebody. Looks like the Amber Wizard's going to try and chase him off. Malagor is much faster in the sky, even when wounded, so he should be able to get to safety, but I don't think that rallies this. The Beastmen are going to get army lost, and a really good comeback victory here for Swordkeeper. Comeback for his team, not himself. This game, he was either even or ahead most of it, so well done. But that does put Clan CB at 1-1 with the Visegrad conglomerate, as my kitty cat continues to get scritches, because he loves them. We love kitty cats that get scritches. Boris and the Amber Wizard both getting decent value. Not great, but decent. Amber Wizard more impressive. Boris is generally considered a more supportive lord, though, than a combat lord, so you don't expect to get his value out of him. Outriders all did fantastically. For Sagos, Malagor did okay. He's just meant to be a cheap-ish, safe-ish caster lord. Skirmish Cavalry struggled to really get a ton of value out. Razorgore Herds, more mixed value. And then the Gorgon got, unfortunately, wrecked. And that'll take us to 1-1. Welcome back to the stream booth. All right, we'll give our little check mark to Swordkeeper. And Sagos gets the big red X of death. 1-1. Not bad. Not bad. Honestly, that did surprise me. Again, I have not seen these games before, so I kind of, in my brain, I don't want to be a dick, but I'm like, I mean, it's Sagos, he's probably going to win. But I guess not. I guess not. Okay, I need to find Panti. Panti versus Von Karstein. Holy shit. Ow! That's it. Fuck Ponty. Fuck Visegrad. I'm rooting for CB now because he did it. He did the thing. I don't know. This guy's a legend. All right. He stuck to his guns. His name is Von Karstein. He picked the vampire counts and he picked the Von Karstein vampire lord. I just like when people commit. They commit to the bit. They commit to their names. And for that, I wish him the best. Ponty and Karstein played with the map pack. The other ones didn't. Oh, I kind of thought you all played with the map pack, but sure, whatever. I have it on. I have the map pack on. Anyway. We get some vampire counts action. Von Karstein Vampire Lord up on a Hell Steed. Looks like he brought Wind of Death, Zombie Summon, and Invocation of Nehek. Then we have two White Kings, both of which have Scab Scrath. Frontline of zombies, skeletons, and Graveguard. And then we have two corpse carts, one with an unholy lodestone. On the other side, for the Dark Elves, we have a starting lineup of a Hydra, Sorceress of Fire with Burning Head, Fireball, and Flaming Sword of Ruin. And then we have Lokir Fellheart on his dragon, some Black Arc Corsair Hambos. That's about it. So a heavy skirmish core here for the early game, and we also have two regenerating monsters, Lokir and the War Hydra. So definitely going for longevity, Ponty is to start off. And then he's going to probably summon in more melee units to try and take the point or something. But he spawned all of his damage that takes a long time first. Where it's like, you want your regenerating monsters to get in frequent skirmishes and really abuse their large health pools and regeneration. And your skirmishers need time to shoot. So he wanted everything that takes time out in the start. And I suspect he'll be seeding ground and trying to just deal damage without holding space while he summons in guys that can actually hold space. Nice summon in from the vampire counts, doing good damage to the Dark Riders. And Storm of the Night is out from the Von Karstein Lord to peel himself away from Lokir, though. There's nothing here to defend him. He landed like, haha, you won't land in my troops because zombies will zombie at you. Like, Lokir's fine to land here. Second War Hydra is summoned, so really going for the tanky regenerating single entities angle for the Dark Elves. Flaming Sword of Ruin is down as the Hydra and Lokir fight the unwashed hordes of undead, getting really good damage onto one of the White Kings and poking the Von Karstein Lord. But yeah, the Vampire Count's early game plan was a metric fuck ton of infantry and corpse carts, which is cute, but there's no mass to stop these giant monsters from getting what they want to get onto. There's actually not even that much damage, honestly. Like, zombies, Graveguard without great weapons or halberds, just regular-ass Graveguard. I mean, you can see Lokir and the Hydra are just swimming around. Starting to get some Cold Knight summoned, but still no melee infantry, which, very good start here for the Dark Elves. Things are going almost exactly how they wanted it to go, but I do worry if they take too long to start, because they have to start summoning melee units. It's not like you can just, bam, pop out 9 Bleak Swords. Like, it's going to be hard to push the vampire counts off these points if you're not quick about it, so I'm getting a little, I'm not worried yet, but I'm getting concerned. Lokir's diving in the back and to snipe out the corpse carts before they arrive at the front line. That's a pretty big win for him. One of the White Kings is already crazy low, and he's not going to be able to just sit next to a corpse cart and heal up, apparently. So really, the Dark Elves are getting a lot of good damage picks. The vampire counts are just mostly getting what they wanted on the battlefield. They've nearly completed a triple cap, and now they're going to try and just push the Dark Elves back, stop them from getting any real ground presence. Ooh, snipe out their caster. That's a pretty big win. First really big win of the Vampire Counts so far. Some small wins here and there, but big win like that. Nasty burning head through a whole bunch of random infantry. Bit of a whoopsie there. Maybe 2 blobbed up on a couple Hydras as the Von Karstein Lord is going to dive back in. But here, now we have some muscle. You see some Crypt Horrors are starting to get in here and surround the War Hydra. And this is a lot harder. He can't just cycle charge and do whatever he wants to. And also they have the weapon strength to really punish him. They're not like Graveguard Halberds or anything, but it is still better than just letting the Hydras wade through zombies ad nauseum to their heart's content. Still no triple cap for the Vampire Counts, which does surprise me a little bit. We get the Discount Tempest, Storm of the Night, coming out from the Von Karstein Lord as my cat has finally left. And you now have both my hands on the keyboard and neither of them scritching his delicate chin. So here we go. You get all the camera action of a professional high-grade studio. Wow, 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 wow. Look at these zombies. Look at the White King fighting Velociraptors. Lokir is diving through the front lines as the Von Karstein Lord gets to get away. But will he get away? We'll zoom in because we have both hands on the keyboard. And he rears up and he attacks. And since I turned off the health bars, I don't know if it hit. I'm going to say it didn't. I'm going to say he juked the fuck out of that. How did he do? He's actually doing pretty fine. He's doing pretty fine. Big problem. Big problem for Ponty. Vampire Counts are up on damage value. That's really fucking bad, and here's why. 1, Vampire Counts have 2 out of 3 points. So on points, they're winning. Vampire Counts heal a lot more than the Dark Elves. Even though the Dark Elves brought 3 giant healing single entities, that's cute, that's neat. You're still never going to out-heal the Vampire Counts overall. So you need to be ahead as the Dark Elves. You need to be ahead on damage value. Being behind, very scary at this point in the game. So, and they still haven't summoned any melee infantry. So their ability to take points is pretty ass. Corpse Guard Unholy Lodestone is over here. It is relatively unprotected, so Lokir is going to jump on it once again, sniping out the Corpse Cart. We have Blackheart Corsair Hambos trying to hold down the front line, but they're using the last of their ammunition over here. And more Corsair Hambos spawned in, so Ponty is really prioritizing damage over capture weight, which I suppose Corsair Hambos have mixed stat lines. 80 armor is not nothing to scoff at. 40 melee attack, 28 melee defense. So after they use all their ammo, they do just become melee infantry. I guess, I suppose, I think it's bullshit, but I guess. Doombolt coming down from a Doomfire Warlock right here. It was the lesser version, not Overcast, and a lesser Doombolt, so it doesn't do as much damage as you're used to seeing on the TikTok reels, but still, not nothing. Dark Elf Caster is back. Felbat's chasing her around, but not able to get too much done. Corpse Guard's trying to heal up the Skeletons over here, but the Vampire Counts have lost a lot of capture weight due to damage and just being zombies. So it seems the Dark Elves will hold that point. And the Dark Elves are going to take a second point, which the Vampire Counts can't allow to happen. Von Karstein does seem like he's getting dragged around the map a little bit, because there's a lot of fights happening where they shouldn't be happening. Like this, right? And I'm not trying to be too much of a dick, I'm just pointing out what I'm talking about. But the Karen are fighting over here. What's the objective? The Hydra and the Doomfire Warlocks can get away from you if they want to. And honestly, the Doomfire Warlocks do want to cycle charge you, so you're getting away from your support. I guess you're surrounding a Hydra or whatever, but the point's back here. So these guys probably want to be fighting here. And then these guys probably want to be fighting here, but they're getting dragged around. So now the Vampire Counts are getting dragged away from the points, which I'm trying to say is a mistake, and I could be wrong, this is just my opinion. But they're getting dragged around by the Dark Elves, who are going to shoot you anyway, right? These kiting units are going to get away as long as he plays well, so you're going to be taking the damage no matter what. I'd rather you be taking the damage on the point, because then things like this happen, where the Dark Elves sneak in. They had point 3, which I don't think they should have been allowed to have at all. And then now they slurp over here. They're going to steal point 2 from you, annihilating your win condition as the Vampire Counts. Because the Vampire Counts, you're not trying to kill the enemy in domination. I mean, in general, that's not how the game mode works. But especially as the Vampire Counts, time can favor you, but your whole play is just grinded out on the points. Like, that's what your faction is built to do. So I don't know why we're fighting off the points at all. But especially letting them capture is just lengthening the game and potentially opening you up to some problems. So I don't know. Personally, I think it's a mistake. Still has point 1. And it's not a huge mistake. It's just something I felt like talking about, so I paused it. But it does look like we're going to lose point 2. Vampire Counts rush more infantry back to the point, but there's too many crumbling units. So I think the Dark Elves, 2 like living full health units, are going to take it. And that'll be a double cap for the Dark Elves, though we do still have a zombie and a little bit of a skeleton warrior trying to take a different point from them, so I guess they'll rally. And ooh, we have Vargeists. I like Vargeists. Vargeists are delicious. Look at their yellow mohawks as they dive down. Whee! Good pick there. Nice job shutting down some of Ponty's skirmish cavalry with the Vargeists, who are a little faster. They do need to be careful, though. They are incredibly weak to Black Ark Corsair handbows. Those teeny tiny little handbows with their volume of fire can do a lot of damage to unwitting Vargeists. Corpse Cart gets knocked out by Lokir Fellheart once and for all, he said. There we go. The Flaming Sword of Ruin is down. We do get some Tarrots out. And the Vampire Counts actually managed to rally and secure this point. I mean, they never technically lost it, but that's more of my point. The Dire Pack are resummoned back in, so that's going well. Still don't love that this fight is happening way over here. It does need to refocus back on the point. White King chasing down a War Hydra is fine. I don't know where these infantry are going. Though, if I'm going to be critical of the Vampire Count's positioning, I also do need to be a little critical of the Dark Elves' positioning. These skirmish cavalry and these skirmishers should never be getting caught because they have such a significant speed advantage. So the fact that the zombies and Graveguard actually made physical contact with them is something I should be getting mad about. Vampire Counts are going to resecure triple caps, so despite me being a negative Nelly, things do appear to be going to their game plan. And what can Dark Elves do to turn this shit around? One, stop letting your skirmish units get caught. Two, Lokir needs to finish some of his food. I seem to know, I feel like Lokir is ping-ponging around this battlefield, and he keeps taking good engagements, but he keeps taking different good engagements, and I need him to stop, kill something, go, kill something else, go, and kill something else. He did that a little bit with the Corpse Guards, but then he let the other Corpse Guard get to the point, so I don't like that. Lokir, finish your food. He is currently becoming food, however, as the Vargeists and Dire Pack and now these Cairn Wraiths have locked him down, so Lokir is taking an unholy amount of damage and definitely regretting this decision. Black Ark Corsair Handbows and Dark Rider Repeater Crossbows are trying to pour fire into this area, and this is the original contract of the Dark Elf build idea, right? Lokir and the War Hydras dive into melee, regen up while you get free shots on the enemy. I get that, but he's taking a little bit more damage than was in the fine print of that contract, in my opinion. Point 3 is currently controlled by the Vampire Counts, though the Dark Elves are trying to take it. I love that those Dark Riders are accidentally capturing it away from those zombies. As Lokir continues, Dreaded Duelist, 72 melee defense on that dragon is good, but he was down to 0 leadership for just a second. Black Ark Corsair is helping him out, though, and this is actually turning into a winning engagement for the Dark Elves. Lokir's going to rout. That's okay. As long as he doesn't get chased down, which, ooh, the Von Karster one's probably going to do. Ooh, and Terror Routes are coming in. All right, my original thought is that the Black Ark Corsairs would hold these guys in, so Lokir would just get into the sky and rally and be fine. But if they don't hold that Von Karstein Lord in, if the Von Karstein Lord also gets to fly up into the sky, then that could be a disaster for the Dark Elves. But they were just pouring fire into this area. There's a zombie summon, but anything here that isn't a summon is just taking so much damage that was looking really good for the Dark Elves until Lokir routed. On the far side, haven't talked too much about them. One of the War Hydras does rally in the woods because the Dark Elves were peeling for it last I checked in. The White King wasn't able to fully chase it down. Lokir can't get away from the Dire Pack that are just keeping him on the ground. He's actually regenerating more than they're damaging him, but mostly they're just keeping him on the ground. Look at him, just going for a little walk. Von Karstein Lord also got up into the sky. He thought about chasing down Lokir, but it looks like he's just going to be happy with the Dire Pack doing that. Vampire Counts have a pretty good lead on tickets, pretty good lead on value, and Ponty is going to throw in the towel, bringing CB to a 2-1 lead over the noob Segos' Visegrad. 2,007 value for the Von Karstein Lord, which is actually very impressive considering he was on a Hellsteed, not on his dragon. On his dragon, that's like, yeah, whatever. It's a Vampire Count Lord getting value. Everyone's fucking shocked. But on a Hellsteed, that's pretty good. White Kings both did very well. Skeletons and Graveguard, not much value, but that's not what they're there for, right? They're there to take the point and control the battlefield, so yeah. Dire Pack got good value from the summons. The Crypt Horror got good value. The only Crypt Horror, and it got really good value. I don't even know if that one was resummoned. I think it was just grinded. Other side for Ponty, Lokir did all right. He sniped out some key stuff. He got caught one time and then died. War Hydra did pretty well. I think the skirmishers are really what let him down. I don't know, pretty mixed value on those skirmishers when they were most of his damage potential. His cavalry did all right, but who knows how many times they were summoned. Oh, yeah. More mixed there from Ponty. Sure he's upset. Sure he's going to be lashing some of his Dark Elves this night. Segos? Yeah, but Segos is the biggest noob. All right, Scarbrand, who is on this team, warning me that one of the games might not have been played on the map pack. So if this next replay crashes while I'm loading into it, I will know why. All right. Visegrad's up against it. Can they win 2 in a row? Maybe. I mean, Danny Controp's one of the best domination players, if I hear correctly. So I'd be more inclined to bet on him. Again, I don't know this Akin fella that well, so maybe he's crazy good. But I mean, I could bet on Danny being a win, and then it's down to Scarbrand versus Chain. I know Scarbrand. I don't know Chain. Scarbrand's pretty good, so Visegrad's got a shot. Don't count him out. Don't come out yet. All right, let's see if the shit crashes. Hit me with the crash. So we already watched that one. Delete it. And then, I mean, this one says it's current game version, so I don't know, dude. Also, wait, okay, if it doesn't crash, this is about to be so fucking epic. Akin's taking Kolek, goddamn Sun Eater! Let's go, CB, 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 CB. 4-1 these noobs. Let's go. He's got Kolek. Screw you guys. Unbiased casting is out of here. We're all in on the Kolek team. Let's go. All right. Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle of Death with Soulblight and Purple Sun. Hold on, you're the Warriors of Chaos. Why did you bother taking a Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle if you're just gonna take a Death? Just take a Chaos Sorcerer of Death. You don't need to go of Nurgle. You silly bastards. Hey Tealis, hey Guillaume, how you doing? Now, I can see what he wants out of it. He wants the self-regenerating Nurgle Rot Beast. Actually, does the Rot Beast even give regeneration? Whatever. It's still armor piercing and poison. I get it. It just looks funny. It's like, oh, you went with a Nurgle caster and you have Kolek, but you went with Death. Nerd. Purple Sun and Soulblight are 2 good spells. Kolek with Lord of the Storm and Tempest Rage, making him a pretty good blob punishment duelist kind of guy. Frontline of Marauders, and then Weird Spawn and Bile Trolls. So actually a pretty crazy Warriors of Chaos build to start off with. Just all sorts of fun units. Bile Trolls, Weird Spawn, Kolek. A couple Marauder Horsemen as well, and I'm sure he'll be summoning in more Hellstriders and such. On the other side, for Danny Controp's Khorne, we have Fleshhounds and Chaos Warhounds in the Vanguard, all the way over here trying to contest the point. Then we have Exalted Bloodletters of Khorne and Marauders with a Minotaur and Scarbrand with his Rampage. I wanted to paint some Dismounted Knights of the Realm, but I'm too invested to paint. I'm sorry, Adam Blitz. I'm sorry I'm so charismatic and entertaining and perfect that I distract you from whatever you want to be doing. I'll work on that. I'll work on being worse. Let's try right now. And the Marauder Horsemen are gonna wander up and just wander up and be Marauder Horsemen and I don't know, do nothing. I guess they just suck. And they whip freaking hatchets at a giant demon with shredded wings. I can't do it. I can't be boring. You know why? I'm too fucking good. Memeing is my love language. Scarbrand catches the Marauder Horseman, getting a little too cocky, and does get them in a nice rampage. There's no cavalry or dogs nearby to punish, so they're not going to take that much damage from just Scarbrand and some Marauders tickling their little hoofsies, but damage is damage, and Scarbrand has unlimited charges of the rampage as long as it can, you know, get off cooldown, but he doesn't have to be in melee or anything like that, so pretty low risk, low reward play there. Hey, congrats on graduating. How are you doing? I'm doing better. We're on the road. These things take time. Kolek versus Scarbrand is the most excellent matchup possible. I just hope I hope they hold the armies back and right click each other. That would be pretty funny. Khorne summoning in his own throwing axe skirmish cav, so I guess we're just gonna have a handshake throwing axe skirmish cav battle. What are you saving up 2,000 gold for here, Akin? Are you forgetting to spend it, or is there something very expensive and exciting coming? I wonder. I would bet on a forgetting to send it. is, yeah, here we go. We got some skirmish cav, we got some Forsaken. Okay, so it was just a temporary slip. Warriors of Chaos currently hold the center and their own points. They are up 2-0, as Danny seems to be building up more of a push. Not as concerned with value trading right now, just wants to get everybody in position. Does summon some sneaky Khorne Gores in the Vanguard. They're going to try and walk over and back cap that other point. Just put the Warriors of Chaos on notice. And then that'll be extra annoying because they're Khorne Gores. You can't just send cavalry to deal with them. You're going to need to spawn your own infantry that can also beat Khorne Gores and get over there. It's just annoying. It's an annoying thing to do. So, well done. Scarbrand's going to walk up and get some free value on the Marauders. Again, he's really not that concerned about the damage coming towards him. And I think he's trying to bait something. The Marauder Horsemasters are going to throw a little bit at him. Kolek's also running up. And now he starts to juke backwards. So I guess he's just trying to get some ammo out of them while he moves Chaos Fleshhounds around. Like that Chaos Warhounds and Fleshhounds hybrid that I just verbally vomited my way through. Saving for a second Kolek, saving for a Hell Cannon. I think one of those is more likely. It's the second Kolek. Blood Beasts of Khorne and more Fleshhounds. Man, I've never known Khorne to be this patient and just vibe on the sidelines. Khorne Gore is getting closer to that back cap. And I think he's going to pull the trigger soon. I think when these extra reinforcements get up here, Khorne's going to commit, because the Khorne Gores will hit that. There we go. They're hitting that capture point now, which will force the enemy to respond. And then I think he's going to hit the front line and really just try and shock and awe them down. Scarbrand jumps in with that, helping out some of his Marauders, mostly just getting free damage out. And there go some of the Khorne Hound Dog Horn things, whatever. They're fighting Forsaken and Hellstriders, which is a doubly bad matchup, so this is a rare mistake here from Danny. I don't think he wants that engagement at all. Scarbrand gets a really big rampage down, but he is backing off as Kolek jumps in with Tempest Rage, who's currently the most powerful he can be. I think Scarbrand's trying to wait out that buff and then turn and fight him on his own terms with his own skirmish cap around, but doesn't want to fight him needlessly with the Lord of the Storm up. But there we go. Kolek's rampage wears off. Tempest Rage is also wearing off, and Scarbrand turns to fight him. Now some dogs are running between this Titan's feet, but he does get away from Scarbrand, who just angrily pushes a tree, apparently. I don't really know why he pushed that tree. In the background, Chaos Warhound's getting peeled off, and we do have that capture by Khorne, so 0.3 now belongs to Khorne. Problem for the Warriors of Chaos. They're going to have to at some point take one of the side objectives. Kolek is getting caught, however. Turns to fight Scarbrand. Bit of an HP advantage for Scarbrand now, and he has Horde of Khorne popped, so he has almost 100 melee attack versus Kolek, who honestly has nearly 100 melee attack of his own, considering his bonus versus large, but doesn't look like he wants this fight. He's going to back off and let the Forsaken just fight. Ooh, Exalted Bloodletters are going to massacre the Forsaken. It's a bad time to be a Forsaken in Khorne's world. Scarbrand doesn't seem to be letting up the pressure, is going to jump in with his Blood Beasts and Throwing Axe Cav, try and get past the weird spawn in the other skirmish cav of the enemy. These Marauder Horsemen, Throwing Axes, and Horse Masters seem pretty happy with what's going on. Chaos Fury's eaten up one of the skirmish cav, and the Deathcaster, I haven't seen a Purple Sun yet. Did I just miss it? I don't know. I've seen some Soul Blights, which is yawn boring. Give me a giant black hole of death that just eats up Khorne troops. What's this? Oh, it's a lightning bolt from Kolek. That'll have to do for now, but my desire for a black hole to slurp Khorne into the other realms is not sated yet. Skirmish Cav fighting on top of Marauders is pretty bad, and we do have Chaos Knights, our first heavy knights of the battle. They're going to easily chase off any form of dogs of Khorne. Fleshhounds or Chaos Warhounds are not going to enjoy trading with those knights. Not anything good for them there without armor piercing. Kolek is rampaged once again into Scarbrand. Now Scarbrand's taking a lot of damage, and Kolek thankfully has a Nurgle caster, a Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle on his team that he can get Fleshy Abundance and heal up. Oh wait, it's a Death Caster, you chump! So even though he's Nurgle, he's not the good Nurgle, he's the bad Nurgle. So Kolek's on his own and he has to retreat because he doesn't have any healing. And if you're not going to bring any healing, then at least use the giant vortex of death. Please. My TikTok brain requires instant gratification or I will cry. Danny Katrop still holds 0.3 and of course 0.1. Ooh, maybe not as of course 0.1. We have some routed units of the Warriors of Chaos rallying and going to take 0.1 as a consolation prize. Soulblight is down onto Scarbrand, and seeing as Kolek has no HP and is opting into a fight, I think he has Tempest Rage back up and wants to get one or two more blows in before he inevitably gets rampaged and murdered. So he is going to dive in and fight some Minotaurs. He's going to fight some Blood Beasts. He is taking a bit of damage for that, and he's down to less than 1,000 HP. Scarbrand is at 4,000, so yeah, a bit of a mismatch there as Chaos Knights are going to peel off Scarbrand. Looks like Kolek just dives back in. Not a lot of point of keeping him safe. I mean, you're paying so much money for a expensive combat terror big boy. Even though he's low on HP, he does have to participate. He does have to get value back in. Speaking of value, Danny is up about 2,000, which is not nothing. Lord of the Storm is down, and come on, this doesn't justify. There it is. There's what I've been waiting for my whole life. We get a purple slurp monster, and it's going to chase off the Khorne forces. Look at it go. Look at how many dead bodies it's currently chucking around, and really not much else because it didn't get that much value. Ooh, Fleshhounds ran into it for a second, but a pretty underwhelming cast, even though I was excited to see it. Danny is simply too good at dodging. Things are looking real bad here for the Warriors of Chaos. They're only down 2,000 value, and they're currently even on tickets, but it's all about momentum, and just looking around, I don't see what they have left, you know? They have 1,200 supplies they could spend, I guess, but I don't see anything coming out that's going to actually push Khorne away. Khorne has higher HP bars on some pretty crucial and expensive units, like Scarbrand's still decently healthy, 4,000 HP on him. So I don't see what the Warriors of Chaos can really summon to get momentum back in this game, and they just throw in the towel. Smart. Smart. Human Boy yells, stream takes a moment to buffer? What? Are there problems? It said my stream health is excellent. What the? Dagroth. Don't you put your evil on me. For Akeen, Kolek did okay. Not amazing, but okay. Marauders, more mixed. Skirmish Cav did fine. Hellstriders struggled to really find much value. Forsaken got wrecked. Ooh, he had the Mutal Vortex Beast. Okay. Well, I guess he didn't use it, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm not mad. For Danny, Scarbrand got a lot more value than Kolek. Rip my boy. Dogs did fine. Khorngor's got 15 value, but a lot of true value from taking that point, being all sneaky and stuff. But yeah, whatever. I guess they don't get much violence value. My excitement caused your stream to buffer. Hey. Hey. Shut up. Wrecked. Okay, let me find that replay and delete it. And here we go. Comes down to the final game, boys and girls. Danny evening it back up for the forces of Visegrad. For CB, they fought honorably. 2-2, down to Chain versus Scarbrand. Land battles, Ash Plains. Oh, and I forgot to mention it at the start because I thought that was common knowledge, but it's not common knowledge if I don't say it out loud. Teams cannot use any of the same picks as their teammates previously have. So at this point, you know, for one side, like Khorne, Dark Elves, Beastmen? I forget what's off the table, but you're not going to see repeat factions too much here. Let's see what they got left in the tank for the final game between these two contestants. Where is Scarbrand versus Chains? There it is. So we have Dark Elves for Chain, because their side hadn't used yet. On the other side, Scarbrand's betting it all on Tzeentch. Tzeentch. Okay. All right. Sure. Whatever. Here we go. Dark Elves versus Tzeentch. Land battles. Looks like they played it on Conquest because they're idiots and they don't read the rules. This game's going to be boring. Enjoy casting it. You're the one that picked Tzeentch, bro. All right, we have Marauders of Tzeentch up in the corner, which I see why now they wanted to play on Conquest so Tzeentch could corner camp and spellkite like a cheater, even though it's supposed to be land battles. I'm watching you, Scarbrand. Cheating monk, Mr. Man. I was like, I want to insult you, but insult you in a way that you know isn't actually hurtful, because I like you. You're a good dude. We're on the Discord a lot. But also, I do like to insult you. Anyway, 2 Centaurs Tzeentch in the vanguard, 4 skirmish cav, 2 Doom Knights, one of which is the Knights of Immolation, and the Shrieking Skyrays, ROR Shrieker, 1 Marauder we saw just corner camping, and then Kairos with blue fire spam, his Scroll of Destiny, his life leeching passive, and he's just gonna throw as many of those as he can. On the other side, for the Dark Elves, we have Dark Shards, some of which are getting bombed by the Knights of Immolation and the Shrieking Skyrays, but Dark Shards, Dread Spears, Bleak Swords for front line, Dark Riders, and Cold One Knights. And then we have a Wizard Lord of Fate of Buna, Aspect of the Dread Knight, and Spirit Liege. Not a lot of counter kite here for the Dark Elves, so they are going to get run around the map by the Tzeentchians pretty good. They need to just take that point. Since they are playing on Conquest, you can just take the point and that's fine. Dark Riders getting in a fight with Skirmish Cav and Centaurs. That is a good fight for Tzeentch overall. Not only do they outnumber the Dark Riders, but like the Centaurs are really good against the Dark Riders, and the Skirmish Cav aren't no slouches either. Fate of Bune out onto the Centaurs of Tzeentch, just trying to get some guaranteed value down while their barriers were deconstructed. Knights of Immolation get a little bit of damage on the Supreme Sorceress as we get a sideways blue fire down the Dark Shards. Takes about a third of their HP. That spell has been nerfed several times, and it still needs more nerfs because I hate blue fire. It's a bad spell. I hate it. I hate it. It's so toxic and does so much damage. And you can't dodge it. It's home. Kairos diving in, just trying to apply some terror and get these Dark Shards to run out of formation where the Centaurs can pick them up a little later. Dark Elves not capturing the capture point. I wonder if the players remembered that they were supposed to be doing land battles, then just ignored the capture point's existence. That is a legitimate thing that could have happened. Don't know. It's looking tough, though, for the Dark Elves. Just looking at their, like, build composition, I'm struggling to see what they do against all this skirmish. Because once Tzeentch takes out the Dark Shards, they're completely at Tzeentch's mercy. And even then, I mean, the Dark Shards don't have that much range. They're not like a bolt thrower or anything. I was excited for just a fleeting moment. Hey, we had 4 pretty good games, and then Tzeentch happened. I mean, Dark Elves can still win. I'm just like looking at the builds, and I'm just struggling to see what really deals with all this skirmish. I guess like we could get to a situation where Tzeentch just runs out of ammunition and then has to fight them in melee and dies because their melee stats are pretty atrocious with this build. But I don't know. I doubt it. I don't think Kairos has literally infinite winds of magic anymore, but it's damn close with that Scroll of Destiny, life leeching, and then the Tzeentch army ability, the tier 1. If he just spams that, you can get a lot of winds of magic. So you don't have infinite, but nearly infinite winds of magic. So the Dark Elves are just going to get blue fired down as they get skirmished to death. I can play at ×2 speed, however. Spirit Leech down onto the Shrieking Skyrays as the Doom Knights look to be going for a bit of a bombing run, but they're not going to. Ooh. He did not use tier 1s on Kairos over and over again. He waited for a tier 3. The Cold Knights did not manage to dodge. Damn, so that's like an entire Cold Knight taken out by a tier 3 army ability. And the Blue Fires are just focused onto the Supreme Sorceress. They want to get rid of the Dark Elves leadership, I guess. Makes it easier to rout off everybody and shatter them eventually. Dark Elves are down the balance of power. I agree. They have not been able to get much done. Dark Shard's getting good shots onto the Doom Knights of Tzeentch, who are silver shielded. Still take half their HP from that volley, so that was a really good volley from the Dark Elves. A lot more of what they needed. Aspect of the Dread Knight giving them magic attacks. I guess that's okay. Doom Knights don't actually have any physical resistance or anything. That's the demon units, but whatever. Kairos dives back in, still has some barriers up, so he hasn't actually taken any real damage in a bit. We do have Dark Riders getting a brief engagement on the Centaurs, who are getting peppered by Dark Shards as they run away, so they've lost a third of their natural HP. Knights of Immolation more willing to just sit there and tank it with their high armor. They'll be relatively okay versus the Dark Riders and the Dread Spears. Still need to be worried about the Dark Shards, as we saw the other Doom Knight had a bad time, but they're just going to collapse in on the Dark Riders and peel them off. Overall, a solid engagement for the Dark Elves. It feels bad to lose a Dark Rider or two, but you traded value, which, how this game's been going, it's like just getting any trades that aren't one-sided and in Tzeentch's favor is probably the best you can do. Cold Knight's getting a countercharge onto the Skirmish Cav that's now out of ammunition. We're starting to see what the Dark Elves wanted. They're just like, wait out all the ammunition, and once they're out of ammo, these Tzeentch units are pretty pathetic. So the Skirmish Cav take half their HP and have to run away from the Colden Knights, who are still pursuing them uphill and getting some good damage down. Centaur's lost half their HP earlier, and who knows if the Spirit Leech caster has another Fate of Buna in her before she gets sniped off the battlefield, which looks like it's happening literally as we speak. There she goes, second blue fire with that Staff of Tomorrow or whatever the hell it is that resets his cooldown. So Dark Elves lost their Lord, no guaranteed free Fate of Buna that could finish off the Centaurs or hurt the Knights of Immolation or something. And that does make the leadership of the Dark Elves a thing to be concerned about. Once this wears off, they're going to be very susceptible to routing. Increased leadership from it, but also it's their vigor. All of them are fresh again. So this is their leadership bar is fresh and with a plus 15. Once that wears off, they start getting tired again. They're going to rout off super easily. Kairos sets the Dark Shards up for a bombing run for the Knights of Immolation. Army losses is getting dangerously close, and the Cold Knights are just too slow to rotate. It does look like Tzeentch is running with Dark Elves around the map, and we see occasional micro lapses from the Dark Elves as they're just focusing their attentions elsewhere and things get missed. This is probably the last ride of the Rohirrim if the Cold Knights can get a good engagement on these Doom Knights, but the Doom Knights just get back up into the sky and they're going to get away, and that was probably the last chance Dark Elves are going to get for a big pick and for some serious damage. We have Skirmish Cav with no ammo, just chasing off anything that has low HP. Bleak Swords and Cold Knights trying to fight anything in melee they can. Balance power keeps getting worse. Kairos is one blue fire away from ending this game, I'm predicting. Here we go. Blue fire. Does it end the game? It did not. It did not. I'm a liar and a dum-dum. All right. Dark Elves is going to give up. Tzeentch doing Tzeentch things. Y'all know how I feel about Tzeentch. If you saw my Why Warhammer 2 players sometimes hate Warhammer 3 video. I don't think Tzeentch is I don't think Tzeentch was well thought out as a faction. I think it was a faction thought about what if you're playing the campaign of Kairos Fateweaver and everyone else can go straight to hell. All right. That was a dream Tzeentch game from the side of Tzeentch. Now for the Dark Elves, to be fair, they could have taken Doomfire Warlocks for more speed and contesting the mobile game. They could have taken Bolt Throwers. They could have taken Scourgerunner Chariots. They could have taken a Soul Stealer caster to tank up some of the blue fire shots. So I don't want to be too negative towards Tzeentch when the Dark Elves did take a low agency build and they got abused for it. They had melee slow units or they had medium range archer units. That was it. They had no long range and they had no skirmish elements. They didn't have their own Dark Rider Pure Crossbows. They didn't have their own Scourge Runners. And Scourge Runners are very popular for a lot of that reason, is that your Cold Knights are very slow in a lot of matchups, not just Tzeentch. Golden Knights are slow. They have a hard time picking their own engagements. But when you need to shut down the Scourge Runner Chariots, the Scourge Runners can lead your cavalry into the Cold Knights, and the Cold Knights get a good charge. So, you know, it does look pretty toxic from Tzeentch, but there are things that can mitigate this playstyle, and the Dark Elves just didn't bring them. So it's like, while it's fair to criticize Tzeentch for being a faction design, I don't particularly find that exciting. It also should be fair to say, but Chain didn't bring the best build. So I'll be fair. Still fuck blue fire though. Scourge Runners get brutalized by blue fire. Fair, but it does give you more agency than a couple Dark Shards, right? Does Marathi have spell resistance? I don't remember, but yeah. I'm not saying there's like rock, paper, scissors, Trogdor. It's just there are better things than pure infantry and Cold Knights versus Tzeentch, right? That's all. All right. 3-2 end score. Scarbrand and his boys move on to face my team. So I did know that they won. I didn't know it went 3-2. So well played by the CB lads. And I guess we'll just have to beat up these Visegrad punks and get rid of them. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. All right. Now I can update these things. I'm just going to do this just so it says 3-2. I don't care what the actual order was. Bim, bam, boom. That was one of our streams. I'll be doing at least 2 more tomorrow, maybe 3. Maybe do 3 tomorrow. Everything in this row is actually done except for USA 2 versus Visegrad, which is my team. We didn't have as much time to fight them yet, so we're a little behind schedule, but it's okay. Everybody else in this row is done. So we'll get some of that going. Some good, fun matchups. Hope you all enjoyed the stream and tune back in tomorrow for 2 or 3 more. And they'll be earlier than right now. I'll probably do 1 in the morning, 1 in the midday, 1 in the evening, because I don't work on Wednesdays, so there's that. Goodbye, everybody. Get out of here. Shoo. Shoo. Leave. Or I could just end the stream, I guess. I'm not gonna, but I guess I could. So there's my team. We got Hayseed, Captain Tealis, Blood Penguin, me, and Coops versus these degens. I have to fight Daniken Drop, which is fucked because I don't play that much domination. And he's like one of the best players ever, so that's cool. Whatever, I guess. That's fine. I don't know. We'll probably win, right? We'll probably win. Probably. Man, all right, I have a different thing to talk about entirely. I've been reading some nonfiction books recently, and I'm reading one by, and this is not political. I promise, this is not political. I've been reading a book by General David Petraeus on like the history of warfare and how it changed from 1945 to Gaza. And I picked it up because as an American, I suspected that an American general writing a book would probably be a lot more America's apologist than objective when it came especially to the guerrilla warfare tactics used in the Afghanistan and Iraq wars versus the United States, in which General David Petraeus, who wrote the damn book, depending on your point of view, again, I'm not trying to get political on this, but like, I would say the US lost those wars. If the objective was like to make an America-friendly, prosperous democracy, that didn't fucking happen, so it didn't go well. And generally, the careers of most people involved in those 2 wars, they don't exactly profess that they're the ones who were doing Iraq and Afghanistan, which also makes me think that it wasn't a success. So I'm going into this and I'm like, I am just curious what this guy is going to say about the wars. And I am 20 pages in and I had 3 things that pissed me off. I'm only 20 pages in. And again, it's not political. The things that piss me off, I think, are just objective. So 1, knowing that this is a general who debatably lost versus guerrilla tactics. In the introduction, he mentions that, oh, we'll be covering tank operations, we'll be covering aircraft deployments in this book, we'll be covering the development of blitzkrieg into more modern warfare styles. We will not be covering guerrilla warfare in this book, and this is a direct quote. We will not be covering guerrilla warfare in this book because, in my view, it does not have a large effect on 20th and 21st century warfighting. And I needed to like pinch the bridge of my nose and take a deep breath, and I'm like, didn't have a significant impact on 20th or 21st century warfighting is a wild thing to say. 1, what would you think the Vietnam War was then? Because it's in that time frame of 1945 to now. The Vietnam War happened. I didn't see a lot of Viet Cong lining up in straight lines and walking at you. I didn't see them doing a lot of tank rushes. That was a lot of fucking guerrilla warfare. So if guerrilla warfare doesn't count, did the Vietnam War not count? Did the Korean War not count until America got involved? Like, because both sides in the Korean War engaged in a lot of guerrilla warfare, and then the United States pushed the North Koreans back, so the North Koreans engaged in a lot of guerrilla warfare, and then the Chinese pushed the US back, so then we had to engage in some guerrilla warfare. Like, so the Korean and Vietnam Wars don't count? So you giving guns to the Mujahideen to resist the Soviet invasion doesn't count? So then the same Mujahideen becoming the Taliban and resisting the American invasion doesn't count? So then I guess Saddam's actually doesn't count. That's not mostly guerrilla warfare. The problem was guerrilla warfare after Saddam fell, because the rest of his forces scattered, and then there was terrorist problems. The war on terror doesn't count. Like, to say guerrilla warfare doesn't matter in the 20th and 21st century is fucking insane. It's debatably the primary form of war. Debatably, there's a lot less World War II style tank charges than there are motherfuckers sitting in trees and placing traps. Like, improvised explosive devices are a form of guerrilla warfare. And that's like, drone attacks are like a form of guerrilla warfare. Like, I don't know. So that's fucking wild. And it's wild to say that it doesn't matter when it beat you twice. It beat you twice. You can't just go write your own book and be like, it doesn't matter. Fucking GG, jungler ganks my lane. Otherwise I would have won. 1v1 me noob. I have more tanks than you, so my style of warfare is better. So that's... I was like, that's a wild fucking thing to say. And then I kind of lumped 2 in there that it was like that sort of thing. Whatever. Oh yeah, okay, so that was the second point. I kind of spoiled it, but it was like, we're gonna be focusing on like tank charges and like aircraft. I'm like, then that's not the history of warfare. That's the history of warfare I specifically like. It's like the history of hockey from 1950 to now, but I'm only gonna talk about slap shots. And it's like, okay, did any other form of goaling happen? No, just slap shots, just a highlight reel of your specific type of play. Cool, dude. Fucking cool. And the other one that got me, it fucking sent me, man. So he complained. He honestly complained. He complained within the first 20 pages. He said, he was talking about the Cold War, and he's like, and I think it's stupid that eight people have received the Nobel Peace Prize for opposing nuclear proliferation, which is more and more countries getting nuclear weapons. 8 people have gotten the Nobel Peace Prize for opposing nuclear weapons, and not one nuclear weapon manufacturer has gotten a peace prize, even though debatably the fact that nuclear weapons exist prevented wars. And I'm like, that is a wild take. That is a wild take. Now, I know there is a part of me that kind of, sort of, possibly gets what he's talking about. He's trying to say that world peace has been maintained because the Soviet Union and America had nuclear weapons, preventing anybody else from fucking around and finding out. Therefore, whoever made the nuclear weapons deserves a peace prize. In an objective sense, I think he has a leg to stand on. In an emotional sense, dude, no. Like, it's a peace prize. You're never gonna win it with any weapon of mass destruction ever. That's just not gonna happen. It's like, I was talking to Grace about it, and it was like, if you go to a film festival and you hold up a book and you make the argument that films are just media and books are media and this book is better than that film, why hasn't my book won any Oscars? And it's like, that's, I don't know. You're an idiot. Like, just shut up. The Oscars are just for films. Like, it's just an award for that specific type of activity. You don't need to shove your nose in it because you're like, I don't know, I think nuclear bombs are the ultimate weapon of peace. They have weapon in the name. It's nuclear weapons. You're not gonna win a peace prize. It doesn't matter how effective your fucking weapon is, dude. Like, just pick your battles, and this isn't one. And I would debate you shouldn't have picked a lot of battles versus guerrilla fighters that you said aren't important. If they're not important, then how'd they fuck up you? Yeah. Drones aren't that good. Brave fighters, the Mujahideen got their tactics from the Green Berets. I'm just catching up on chat. What up, chat? Desert Storm, senior military leader's wet dream. All they want is that. Yeah, Desert Storm was pretty cut and dry. So good for them. This is like wanting to win an Oscar for producing a movie camera. Fair. The apple juice is kicking in. Yeah. Anyway, I had that rant, and somebody earlier was asking for the lore books. I'm like, I don't have Warhammer lore, but I do have a mini rant I could give you. So hopefully, to that person, if you're still out there, hopefully you got your kicks in. But I don't know. This book's gonna be a trip. I don't know if I'll finish it, but it was in a used bookstore for pretty cheap, and I'm like, well, I'm open to learning. So I thought I'd pick up this book and like learn the perspective of someone who was there and participating in it. But the first 20 pages is not going great. Because that's the thing. I'm not trying to discredit the man's experience. This is the last thing I'll say, then I'll shut down the stream. I'm not trying to discredit his experience and be like, actually, that's not what happened in Afghanistan where I wasn't and you were there. I'll believe him on the events as they transpired. My problems so far have been with his opinions on things, right? Like I didn't criticize and say like, no, that's not how Afghanistan happened, because I can stay in my fucking lane. I'm just a 30-year-old white guy who never went to war, so I'm not going to tell you how Afghanistan did or didn't happen. I'll believe you. But I do take issue if you say nuclear weapons deserve a peace prize, and I will take issue if you say guerrilla warfare isn't significant. Like, it feels so fucking demeaning. Like, I don't know. You got people, however you feel about the politics of why they're guerrilla fighting, I don't care. Because every side of every political argument has engaged in guerrilla warfare at some point. Like, the American revolutionaries had to do some guerrilla warfare tactics at times before they got the Continental Army together. So, like, whatever. This isn't a moral thing. But, like, to say a group of people go to war with you, you have tanks, you have aircrafts, you have aircraft carriers, you have ships that cost more than certain cities, and your assault rifles cost like 10 of their assault rifles. They have assault rifles, and then they have grenades that go far and grenades that go not as far, and they go, yeah, I'm not going to instantly surrender, I'm going to engage in this conflict. And the ways you can creatively use those devices to inflict damage on your opponent, just to say that entire style of warfare is irrelevant if you don't have a tank, don't at me, is such a dismissive and stupid way of looking at history. Because there's like, that's just not, like, imagine a World War II documentary. No, we're doing this. Imagine a World War II documentary where you discount anyone who doesn't have tanks or aircraft. The Battle of Stalingrad would be, so the Nazis charged into Stalingrad, 3 or 4 beat up Russian aircraft tried to fight off the Luftwaffe. It didn't go great. And then 2 or 3 months later, the Germans surrendered for no reason. Oh, but why would they surrender for no reason? Well, because apparently if you don't have 100 tanks and aircraft, then it doesn't count. So we don't know why they lost. And then the French partisan forces that were fighting the Nazi occupation since the start of the goddamn war didn't exist. So it's like, oh, the Germans took over France and then left no garrisons behind in France that attritioned them out on the Northern African or Eastern fronts because they had to have troops occupying France. Because there's no reason to have troops there, because no French people would engage in any form of warfare after their last tank blew up. It's stupid. It's just it's a stupid way of looking at history. There is so much going on. The Ethiopians resisted the Italians, and I honestly don't think the Ethiopians had any tanks. Yeah, they didn't. They didn't have any tanks. So how Mr. Petraeus, how is your documentary of the Ethiopian resistance of Italy in World War II gonna go? Is it gonna be Italy charged in there, looked around, and decided to just fucking go home? No! You idiot! Ugh. Stupid. Tanks don't make warfare. Warfare is a broad concept with lots of different tools you can use. Fucking jeez. Ugh. It's pretty bad. I don't like it. And the Goodreads reviews that are like 5 or 4 stars is literally like people just copy pasting the back blurb on the back of the book that just says what the book is, and it's like, I liked it because this is what the book is. And like, okay, was the book written well? Did they have insights? Did they have good fact checking? Did they have this? Did they have that? I don't know. I just copy pasted the back of the book, 5 stars from David Petraeus' mother. A lot of these 5-star reviews have the last name Petraeus. What the fuck? In an offensive war, guerrilla warfare isn't all that useful, so if your country's mostly known for their offensive wars, I can see why somebody would think that. Olaf, that's fair. But also, like, you should probably learn from your mistakes. So if you're going to lose twice to guerrilla warfare and then say it's not important, you're not learning from your mistakes. My opinion. All right, there was your weird 20-minute book review after the stream ended. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.